sure we clocked in. Hey, what's going on, party people? Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. Excuse myself. It's definitely a pleasure to have you here. I go by the name of L'Esprit. I am a spiritual healer. And technically, as a spiritual healer, what I do pretty much is that I help people to become mentally and emotionally balanced. Now, when I'm talking about being emotionally balanced, what I'm referring to, I help you to understand how your emotions are being created, for you to identify your emotional pattern. And last but not least, if there's any, for you to, if there's any blockages, for you to remove them, and, ultimately to, become emotionally balanced is for you to master your emotions. Pretty much that means, you make your emotions yours, although they are yours, but I'm referring in terms of management. It's not like you're being triggered when you don't know. If you're being triggered, if you're triggered, well, I shouldn't say triggered. If you choose to release yourself, hey, have at it. You know what I'm saying? But not because of somebody else, because sometimes you gotta let motherfuckers know. But that is done um consciously, intentionally, and most importantly, it's done in a powerful way. So being emotionally balanced has nothing to do with, having a front, or to behave a certain way, not to raise your voice. You may choose not to, but ultimately it's like, I'm cool. I just had to let you know. I ain't mad. You know what I'm saying? Fuck you, motherfucker. That's it. I'm cool. I'm gonna sleep tonight. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna drink my shit and I'm gonna smoke my shit. You feel me? But fuck you though. I ain't fucking with you. That's all that is. Because ultimately it's dealing with your shadow self as well, because your emotions pretty much embodied. When we're talking about emotions, we're pretty much talking about energy, right? And part of your you being a living mind or a spirit, that's what comes with it. You have your shadow self, you have all of these things. But anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself here. And was just to give you a little bit of description about what I mean or what I do by helping you to become emotionally balanced. Now, in addition to that, I also help you to become mentally balanced. Now, for you to become mentally balanced, the same principles applies. So you would have to understand how your mind is being shaped. Because ultimately, when we're talking about mind control, what this is really telling you about is how, I mean, unfortunately, it does have a bad connotation. But what they're truly telling you is it's not anybody forcing you to think a certain way, but it's how you've been trained to think. That may not be in the best in your best interest, because ultimately when I'm referring to mind control or mentally balance, which is ultimately the same thing, it's you being in charge, you mastering your mind. But for you to do that, you have to be aware of a lot of other things, a lot of subtle things that are taking place around you. That's why I talk about, let's just say, culture, a lot of those, societal shit that you dealing with, because all of it is shaping your mind. And the occult, pretty much, not for me to get too much ahead of myself here, because I will be breaking down, I'll be talking about spirituality, because the occult is simply a part of spirituality. And that part of spirituality is nothing but, information that is allowing you to have a deeper understanding of who you are. That's all that shit is. You know what I'm saying? And then if you follow up with it, it'll tell you, for instance, you have a subconscious mind, you have a conscious mind. This is just is dealing with information that is not, I mean, on the surface level. And that's when the whole occult or the heathen culture comes in, because technically what this is telling you is dealing with the things that you do not see about you. And the occult now is making you aware of these things, because you have to understand that what you do not see, it's what's controlling what you do see. That's why the visible and the invisible in this plane, I got to make this clear. In this plane, they clang like they go hand in hand. That's why when we're talking about, even I'll give you a perfect example, when we're talking about, let's just say, nature, or for you to understand, I'm getting way ahead of myself here. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I'm getting way ahead of myself here. Let me slow it down. Let's slow it down. But this is just to show you, how excited I am. But with that being said, if this is your first time here, motherfucker, welcome. And also, I just wanted to let you know a little bit about exactly what you're going to get yourself into. And if you're coming back, my niggas, those of you who are coming back, you know what you went for. You know what we here. We're breaking bread, each one teach one. We're sharing wisdom. Listen, man, we're loving each other. I love you, motherfuckers. And my love has to do with me, being fully who I am, embracing you and expressing myself to you wholeheartedly. I'm not holding no punches. I mean, I may butter it up a little bit, but ultimately, listen, I'm gonna work you out. Now, you already know my niggas. Welcome back. It's always a pleasure. We're breaking our bread. This is a holy communion, as always. Now, as part of my routine, guys, especially if this is your first time, and I always like to take the time to talk about spirituality, because, it's everything evolves around spirituality. There's nothing outside of it. But unfortunately, due to lack of wisdom, or not a lack of knowledge, or due to ignorance, a lot of us, we were trained to isolate spirituality from us. So therefore our attitude, towards spirituality is always like, what I'm saying, it's on that side. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, if I'm telling you about spirituality, it's like this nigga got his dread and shit. All right, this nigga tripping. I mean, it's not, let's just say, the reality that you're facing every day, because you're the reality that you're facing every day. You know what I'm saying? Can you pay my rent, nigga? You know what I'm saying? That's what it came down to, unfortunately. I mean, because you've been trained to think that way, but most importantly, that's the level of understanding that you have, and that, my friend, have nothing to do with spirituality. It's just a lack of understanding on your part. You know what I'm saying? Where, you look at sport, politics, and all these things as part of your regular life. But when it comes to spirituality, it's like, oh no, it's religion. Do you see what I'm saying? It's that thing, that's how people think. Like, you have nothing to do with it. And I'm here to let you know, my niggas, and just so you guys know, depending on who's watching, I do use the word nigga. It's a cultural thing. It's, it's not intentional, not to bring anybody down, because, sometimes, and here's another one too. Here's another, I would have to say, uh I guess, ways of looking at spirituality, in the sense of, you have to appear a certain way. You have to speak, it's because you're speaking about God. You know what I'm saying? And but unfortunately, the true meaning of spirituality has nothing to do with appearance. It's just you. Essentially, it's spirituality is just telling you the story of your spirit. And pretty much this is you taking a shit, this is you walking around, this is you jerking off, this is you killing other people. Like, I'm trying to use some of the worst shit to let you know, although you may not acknowledge it, it doesn't take away from your true nature. Now, when we talk about spirituality now, and then becoming spiritual, it's now you actualizing or being more conscious of the person that you already is or you already are. So it's nothing new. It's nothing added. It's not over there. It's just a level of consciousness, meaning how well do you know yourself? And that's what spirituality is all about. So now when we talk about the occult, which is a big part of spirituality, those are pretty much manuals or sacred texts that our ancestors had to let you motherfuckers know, or to help you to see the other side of you. And that other side of you pretty much entails, like a motherfucker would tell you, you know what, you have a conscious mind, you have a subconscious mind. The big thing that everybody's talking about now is what? Wow, you have the power of manifestation. You could manifest shit. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, the true question is not being asked. If I can manifest, you can manifest. I got a whole so what the fuck does that mean about me? What does that say about me? And these are the things that are not being addressed. Well, luckily for you, motherfucker, I got you. You know what I'm saying? This is only you can only do these things because you are more than what you appear to be. That's why your thoughts are powerful. Hello? Your words are powerful. All of these things, they're trying to get you to be conscious about it. But most importantly, this is also part of the occult, is to let you know. And also, this is, oh man, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, too. Let me, shit, niggas. All right, slow down, motherfuckers. Slow down, motherfuckers. Let me get my shit, nigga. Shit. Let me get my shit. Fuck is going on here? You know what I'm saying? I apologize. I was not behaving properly. I've been talking and I didn't even. I'm not trying to tease anybody. All right, shit. Let me light my shit up, niggas. Shit, you got me fucked up. Mm. So that's the understanding that, let's just say, the monks have when they approach someone who's not of their level of consciousness, and then they say namaste. That's the idea behind it. It's like, you peeing in bed, in your bed and shit. You taking the shit, you doing all that shit. But despite of it all, motherfucker, I see your true spirit. I acknowledge it from the God within me to the God within you. Although you may not be fully aware of who the fuck you are. And that's done as a way for them to humble themselves. But no, I don't like this. I don't like the word humble here. Doesn't fit. But it's just a way of them for them to root who the fuck they are, knowing the truth. So they address you as such. You know what I'm saying? It's another way of them too to reveal that they could see beyond the veil. So even though you don't know who the fuck you are, or you choose not to, when you're ready, whenever the fuck, wherever you are in your journey, or some of us, not everybody's here to wake up. It's all spirituality too. It's all part of it. So, to pretty much summarize the whole spirituality thing, and I like to spend a lot of time on that because if you truly get to understand that, listen, you definitely, that's why knowing the truth will set you free. That part of the truth is just knowing your true nature. Now, as we're speaking about the true nature, I think this is also a good segue for me to get into the conversation that we'll be talking about tonight. Because what is here is also elsewhere. What are we saying about that? I was actually inspired to talk about this. Hmm. See that part, man, burn. I got some fire for that ass. Why you ain't burning, bitch? Oh, and by the way, let me plug this in real quick. I do have another channel, guys. It's called To Give Is to Receive. And technically, what I do on that channel, I talk a lot. I mean, I it's specifically, I talk on a lot of quotes. And by those quotes, I'm talking about, those wise saying. I mean, I think that's the term. I mean, that's the proper terminology for it. Like we're talking about, let's just say, to give is to receive. That is a quote in itself, and what that implies is you cannot receive anything without giving something, and for you to receive anything, you got to give something. But the overall, understanding of that, it's just it reflects life right then and there. It reflects exactly what life is all about right there. I don't give a fuck who the fuck you are. If you're Chris Brown, you have a lot of money. This motherfucker's giving you performances. He's dancing, he's singing. Shit, if anything, he's sharing the hell out of his gifts for you motherfuckers. So to give is to receive. Whoever, whatever. You go to your job, you put in your 8 hours, you know what I'm saying? Listen, to give is to receive, baby. You know what I'm saying? And it even applies even in your breath too. If you know what I'm saying, you can't just inhale and not exhale, baby. So those are life principles. So the beautiful things about those quotes is that they are, captivating or they transcend your logical thinking. They also reveal, but the true thing is they reveal the true power of speech because it's not what is being said, but it's how it's being said. But anyway, that's what I do on that channel. So I'm trying to plug it in so you guys could actually check it out. So there's a bunch of quote that I talk about, because to show you how powerful those quotes is. But most importantly, as a spiritual healer, I'm targeting things that would allow you to reach a higher level of consciousness because that's what my job is. And those quotes, or just like meditation, a big part of these things is that they help you to get to a space where now you can receive certain things. Or now you can use your logic once you get in that space. Because your logic is not logical until you get to a certain spaces. That's why, and that's what this life is all about. That's why we don't hear things with just our ears, but we hear really with our understanding. That's why only when the student is ready, then the teacher will appear. But anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on that. Check it out. I'll probably have a link over here, but we're trying to get that one going too. You know what I'm saying? Because we're working out here. We're doing God's work. I'm doing my Father's work. Mm. Now, I was actually inspired to talk about the conversation that I will be talking about tonight, which is what is here is elsewhere. I was kind of like, watching this thing without, getting too much into it, where, they were talking about flat earth, round earth. You know what I'm saying? And all that shit. So I'm like sitting down, I'm like, hmm. So I don't really know. Let's just say I don't know if it really makes a difference. But from, let's just say, an occultist perspective, you know, or even from learning from the occult, but most importantly, from me becoming the one and finding the one, and I'll describe that shortly. I came to understand, and I came to because you have to discover the truth too. Like, like the fucking Indians call this plane illusion, the world of illusion. But you got to be careful. You got to understand what illusion means. You know what I'm saying? I know with the movie The Matrix, a lot of people come out, they have their own interpretation. They're saying this is a matrix because this is a fake world, right? And in my opinion, I feel like a lot of people miss the point of what the matrix is really saying. Because what the matrix is truly showing you is like on one side you're looking at this world the way it is, doesn't make it fake. And then when these motherfuckers who became conscious, for lack of better terms, or who took the red pill, if you want to put it that way, they looking at dots. So here we are looking at the same thing, but the way they're looking at it, they have a different perspective on what you are looking at. That's what the illusion is. And that's what the matrix should really be. So what this is telling you is it doesn't what you see, it's not what it appears to be. So I don't know if it's flat or round, but the Kabbalion calls, let's just say, quantum physics. They call it material physics or sciences, which I really like that term. And by the way, I don't know. Let's just say if we're saying the Earth is flat, how much impact would that really have on you? I haven't seen anybody who fully explain it, to a way I would get it. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe I should say to my satisfaction. Or maybe the way they explain it at the end of the day for me is like tomatoes, tomatoes. But what you should really be concerned about is what is here is everywhere else or is elsewhere. Now, let's get back to quantum physics. And that should fuck your whole fucking life up. That statement right there. They tells you what? Matter, the shit that you're touching, the shit that you see, it's nothing but condensed energy. So in other words, what they're telling you is the same thing that the occult been telling you, but a lot of people don't truly understand what it means, which is they've been telling you this reality, not necessarily fake. For me personally, I don't like the term fake because it implies there's real shit. Because you can have fake without original. But when we're talking about illusion, what we're talking about is it's not what it appears to be. It's there. You're looking at something, but it's not what it seems. That's why our mind make this real. But anyway, I'll get to that too. You know what I'm saying? I'll get to that too. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Y'all good? I hope I'm not losing you so far. That's the type of understanding that should change your life if you understand what that statement is, which is The material world is nothing but condensed energy. So now then you would have to ask yourself, what the fuck? So you mean to tell me, like, in other words, what they're saying is everything is alive. Because when we talk about energy, that's what the Kabbalion always tells you, everything vibrates. So what you're seeing from a Kabbalion perspective, what you're calling, let's just say, matter, it's nothing but spirit vibrating at a condensed energy at a lower level, but it's still spirit. That's why for us, the true occultists or the true magicians, we know this is the mind is all you dealing, this is all spiritual. The mind is all, this is all mind, this is all mental. In other way of saying that, this is all energy. But now the Kabbalion now teaches you, now there are different planes. They talk about the mental plane, they talk about the physical plane. But again, the way they look at the physical, again, like I was saying, not as physical as in matter, but as a more of a lower or condensed energy. That's what that is. So when you understand that, when you're dealing with everything, you're looking at everything as energies, that's the type of truth that will set your life, that would set you free. Because now you no longer, that's when we could talk about the law of manifestation. Now you attract who you are. Then now it's making sense. Then now you understand you have to vibrate at a certain level because ultimately you're dealing with the law of vibration. Everything is energy. So by me saying what is here is everywhere else, that's why I don't give a fuck if you go to Mars, wherever the fuck you got. There's water over here. There's gonna be water there too. But you got to understand what you're truly dealing with. It's not just the water in itself, but it's the energy behind it. That's why in this plane, the physical or the visible and the invisible goes hand in hand. So is that truly air that you breathe in? Meaning, what is your interpretation of it? When you see a breeze, nature, because that's why our ancestors understood that nature is more than just nature. When we talk about metaphysics, for instance, we understand the same rules that applies, meaning the same energy that goes on into nature also goes on into your life. And that's why that's the only reason or the only way you're gonna rip what you sow. Because ultimately you're dealing with energies. Come on now, niggas. Keep the change, nigga. This is all for you. Yeah. And that's what this is telling you about. This is the knowledge you should be concerned about. You should be concerned because that's the shit that will truly, truly change your perspective on how you see things. See, when you understand, that's why then the Kabbalion or even any type of mysticism or occult will let you know as it is within, so it is without. Because just to look at the outside by itself, the external by itself without going in, that's the illusion. It's not what it seems. So to change your life, you gotta go in. Michael Jackson told you that shit. You don't want to change the world? Well, change you. Then your perspective of the world will change. That's how you change the world. By changing you. So when you look at it from that perspective, then now everything being energy makes sense. And to transcend energy, what you're doing is you are aligning yourself, that you knowing your true self, which is energy, then you're seeing energy all around you, then you set yourself free from matter. That's how you transcend it. Unfortunately, there's, the European spirituality that tells you, pretty much for you to transcend spirituality, you got to refute your physical body. That's when you'll have the idea of duality. That's why, the foundation of what I talk about, it's African spirituality. And what that means pretty much is ma'at. It's harmony. It's the visible and the invisible becoming one. And that's what being the one is. When you become the one, you know the truth. You could see through the veil. You find that unity between what you see and what you don't see, nigga. That's why no one can no longer lie to you. That's how you set yourself free. I mean, you set yourself free. That's why to transcend matter, you got to go through it. And by you going through it, then you realize it's nothing but condensed energy. And once you see things that way, then what's here is everywhere else. Is it matter? Is it flat or is it round? You know what I'm saying? By all means, entertain me. But I'm also open too, because you never know. There could be some shit that could open up my mind too, nigga. Shit. That's why I will forever be evolving. I just haven't seen it so far, and I haven't seen how. But you never know. You never know, nigga. And to my knowledge, and so far, based on the things I have discovered so far, because you have to discover the truth. You have to discover the truth. The truth has to be lived. Any teacher or anybody who's bringing forth this type of knowledge, what I'm saying, they had to discover it for themselves. You have to remember, become a member again by transcending or by knowing your true nature. And if I were to go back to what I was talking about before, that's why, to say spirituality is outside of you, it's a really, it's the most ignorant statement that anybody could say. But I get it. And that's why you have to take over your mind because that's how you've been trained to think. You've been only trained to just rely on your external senses, whereas that's not the way it works here. You gotta go in. So they've been teaching you how to be backward, pretty much. They rocking you to bed. And by they, I'm not referring to no conspiracy theory or no fucking Illuminati. I'm just saying society as a whole. Wherever your true self is not being taught, then you are worshiping idols. Now, because you're separating yourself from this world. See, in African spirituality, we look at the sun as our brother. We call nature our mother. Why? Because you're nurturing from it. You eat from it. It can also be your father too, depending on how you're looking at it. But I'm not gonna. I already talk about that. But you know what I'm saying. I'm just trying to show you the actual connection here. And this is all connected, but ultimately the underlying message here is showing you that it's not what it appears to be. And that's the plane that we are in. That's why if you a star, if you a true spirit, or if you know who the fuck you are, because the European spirituality will get you to think, meaning the way they look at life, or the way they it's a limited perspective, in my opinion. It's one sided. It's like that's why they suppress the body. They'll tell you fuck this world, fuck humanity, whereas humanity is your spiritual battlefield. It's your playground. If you're gonna say fuck the body, and on the same token, then you got to work on your chakra. What the fuck? What chakra are you working on? Are we not saying fuck the body? Why do you have to open up your third eye? For what? See, that logic needs more logic. But for you to enhance your logic, though, you gotta attain a higher state of consciousness. And that's what spirituality, African spirituality, is pretty much. That's the foundation. That's what the Buddhists are talking about, Hinduism, Voodooism, whatever the fuck, or what you call the tradition or the traditional, whatever the fuck. They all talk about the same thing: the connection between you and Earth, how we are all one. Because the minute you separate yourself from the external, okay, look at it this way. If you're saying as it is within, so it is without, so the argument of separating the external with the internal doesn't hold water. Does it really matter? Do you see what I'm saying? Would you really say fuck Earth if as it is within, so it is without? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense at all. Does humanity or spirituality even is there even a difference at that point? If it's truly as it is within, so it is without. For me, I mean, I'm living it. That's why the Kabbalion talks about polarity. Opposite meets. We're talking about different degree. So your body, you are a spirit in a human form. It doesn't take away your you being a spirit, but in this plane, you have a human form. Now that human form does not exist without you. That's why, as it is within, motherfucker, so it is without. I've never seen a body walking around talking like I feel pain. Just the body saying that shit. You know what I'm saying? If there's gonna be anybody said my body feel pain, well, it comes from you, motherfucker. It comes from you, the spirit. Because the body you cannot say that shit. When the spirit separates itself from this human form, guess what? That's what death is in the physical plane. But I mean, it's important for me to say that because when we're talking about truly growth, or I mean death, death is forever evolving. It's to live one form of life to another. And that's why anybody who's growing, in fact, um, I talked about that tonight in one of my on my other channel. We were talking about the only mistake. There's two mistakes that you can only that anybody could do on your spiritual journey or your on your path to truth. It's only two mistakes. The first one, oh excuse me, goddamn. The first one, look, niggas, is you stop evolving. It's you not going all the way through because death plays a big part in our life over here in this plane. And once you realize that, that's how you able death. Where's your death? Where's your victory? Because now you find your true self, or you find God, whichever one pleases you. It's all good. So, I got you. So I got you. Either way, I understand what you're saying, but I also got you right here too. What's understood doesn't have to be explained. So truly, when you understand, what quantum physics is telling you, that alone should fucking that is the matrix right there. And again, to get back to the matrix real quick, just like I was talking about before, the true idea of the matrix is not to say this is a fake world. It's for you to understand that it's not what it appears to be. Like while you're looking at clothes, you're looking at all these things, everything, and here's something else, everything is alive. Everything is alive. Even in a car, the car is alive. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean there's life that was put into the car per se or objectively, but since the material that are used to build the car, isn't it from nature or metals, whatever the fuck? Everything is alive. That's why the Kabbalion tells you everything vibrates. So just like you could talk to the tree, you could talk to the sun, you can also talk to your car, nigga. It's all energy. And that should be the shit that fuck your mind up. And us true magicians or alchemists, that's what we understand. See, that's when you find the one. And that's also the foundation for you to transmute anything. But anyway, I don't want to, go too far away from what we're talking about here, because what we're truly talking about here by saying what is here is elsewhere. It's just to show you in this plane. I mean, it's you got to go underneath what you see. You know what I'm saying? The water, like the energy, is that really air that you're breathing? Like all of these things, some people call it chi. And here's something else too, man. But that would be more of a side note, because I was on some shit, right? Yo, I've been on some download, man. Yo, I've been getting a bunch of download lately, man. Like I was thinking about how when we are, because think about it, because I'm trying to, anyway, I just don't want to bother you guys with my shit, but I'm trying to understand, right? Because when we are in the baby, as a baby, when we are in our mom's belly, right? Yo, we fucking Aquaman or women, however the fuck you want to call it. Because the tube that we're eating from, we are in water, right? Then when we come out, they telling you, you have to pretty much activate the baby. You got to smack the baby, and then when the baby cries, and then because in your tomb you were still alive. It meant like you were fucking dead. You were swimming like a fish. But anyway, that's just my shit. And I'm trying to damn. And I'm like, okay, so the activation, once you activate it here, now when I go to swim, what I'm saying, I can't do what I was doing before. But anyway, maybe I don't know. Like I like to put shit out there too, because spirit, because I'm trying to make the connection. But ultimately, all I'm saying here, I'm sure you do. You see the connection in fucking everything. Anyway, understanding your true nature, because that is once you get your true nature, which is the living mind, which is spirit. That's truly how you transcend this reality, and that's how you become the one. There was something else I was going to mention. I don't fucking remember. But this shit's already 45 minutes. All right, I think I'm gonna stop it there. But anyway, just to summarize real quick, you know, again, quantum physics is not against the occult. I mean, because you also have to understand, the whole material. That's why I love the material scientists. They going, they're just doing their thing. I guess, you know, I don't know. Maybe the external will help them to go inside because we also do that too. But what the Kabbalion is telling you, it's not that the external is gonna take you. I mean, it's like as it is within, so it is without. They talk about the law of correspondence. So you could master, let's just say, the external. If you're not aware of what's going on in the inside, then now you take a look on the outside. You're like, oh, okay, so I got to do this in the inside. And that's where we have something called spiritual laws comes in. The spiritual laws are pretty much another way to enforce to let you know that this reality is not what it seems to be. For instance, they will tell you if you want love, you don't go out and love somebody else if you're looking for love. No, 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 sir. And therefore, you can even love nobody else if you first don't love yourself. Because loving yourself pretty much entails you seeing the non-tangible aspect of you. That's only when you truly love yourself. Then you're talking about your self-esteem. Then you're talking about shit that are not tangible about you, your divine qualities. Then once you see these things in you and you embrace them, then now you look for those same things in other people. That's why even this knowledge that I'm giving you here is for your well-being. Well, I guess that's what makes me a spiritual healer too. But anyway, we're gonna leave it here, man. It's Tuesday night. Hey, I got a lot more coming out for you guys. Check out my other channel, and we're gonna leave it here, man. You already know, Aisha. Male.